The man filming this scene is quoting from the Quran, invoking the apocalypse. Perhaps those below think they're staving it off after nearly 3 months of Israeli blockade. Here at last, a warehouse full of flour. In central Gaza, it belongs to the World Food Programme. The UN workers, he says, simply melted away as the crowd surged in. Multiple reports of injuries and deaths in the melee. It follows yesterday's chaos in the far south at a distribution centre belonging to the controversial US-Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. GHF today called this a brief and intentional relaxation of its security protocols, adding that no Palestinians were fired upon and there were no casualties. But our team witnessed a number of injured people making their way north. The UN says 47 were injured and has today again condemned the GHF operation. Israel has in turn repeated its criticism of the UN, saying it was joining Hammash, mafia-like, in trying to block the GHF. Today, it said it had now given out nearly 15,000 food boxes over 2 days. For all the chaos of this week, to get a sense of Gaza's reality, perhaps better to follow these footsteps. Past rotting debris, beneath circling Israeli drones. They belong to Yara. 10 years old, she's turned provider for her mother and her 7 siblings. This is her destination, an improvised soup kitchen in northern Jabalia. Step back, I want to fill your pots, but you have to move back, he says. Yara is at the back. The stakes are high, but she waits her turn. Yara says these long walks scare her. She's worried about shelling, about being hit by shrapnel out here alone. But she's more worried about her siblings going hungry. Their father is in the West Bank. He went there for medical treatment before the war. He's stuck. His wife and children have no source of income.
بكيف لما أنا أجيب لهم خليهم يأكلوا بدل ما يضلهم جعانين هيك.
The next time we meet her, the family's been forced further south to the streets of Gaza City, clinging on to childhood, to memories she now calls beautiful, eating breakfast, packing a school bag, helping tidy a house long since destroyed.
اختلف كل شيء مع الحرب إلا مع عدا علاقتي مع أمي وأخواتي. بخاطر بحالي بروح أجيب تكية عشان ما ياكلوا ما يضلهمش هيك.
طيبتها زادت مع الحرب والله يعني صارت طيبة كثير وبتحزن على اخوتها بتحزن عليهم فيش أكل وشرب هي بتروح تجيب لهم يعني بتساعدنا من جميع النواحي. شاطرة يارا.
Yara finished her last school year 2 years ago with top grades. She wants to be a teacher, but this is her job for now. And on this occasion, walking new streets, she's too late. She returns with the pot still empty. She's crushed, says her mother. One more child in Gaza, carrying far more than she can bear.
Well, our international editor, Lindsay Hilsum, is in Israel as the country marks 600 days since October the 7th, and she joins us now from Hostage Square in Tel Aviv.
Krishnan, of course, there are other victims of this war. 58 hostages, Israeli hostages, taken 600 days ago, and 20 of them, only 20, are believed to still be alive. Behind me in Hostage Square, as it's become known, they're trying to keep them in the public eye because the people here, relatives and friends and supporters of the hostages, think that their government, the Israeli government, just doesn't care. Earlier in the day, there were protests all around Tel Aviv and in other places too, and they had a simple message for the government. Stop fighting, start talking. And it seems that the Americans are paying more attention than the Israelis. because the Americans, they got one of the final American hostage, they got him out through a deal with Hamas, and they are still talking. And in fact, a few hours ago, Steve Witkoff, that's President Trump's envoy, came out and he seemed to be expressing some optimism.
I think that we are on the precipice of sending out a new term sheet that hopefully will be delivered later on today. The President is going to review it, and I have some very good feelings about getting to a long-term resolution, temporary ceasefire, and a long-term resolution, a peaceful resolution of that conflict.
Well, it's not clear where the Israeli government is in all this, because they had stopped negotiating and withdrawn their negotiators from Qatar. And what Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, fears that is if he does negotiate, then his government will fall, because the far right that keeps it going wants to keep fighting. But he needs the support of President Trump and the Americans. You know, earlier this week, I was at a left-wing demonstration where they were protesting against the war, against the killing of Gazan children. And I saw a man in a T-shirt I would never have expected to see in a left-wing demonstration. It said, "In Trump, we trust."
Lindsay Hilson in Tel Aviv. Well, a little earlier, I spoke to Amjad Al-Shawar, the director of the Palestine NGOs network in Gaza, who joined me via the internet from Gaza City. And I asked him to describe what's happening today.
It's a horrible situation with full meaning that we are passing through. That you could see the tens of thousands only in Rafah area. That's not in Gaza City. I'm based in Gaza City. No aid entered. It's about 3 months now. Nothing we received in Gaza and the north. These starved people had to walk about 2.5 hours to reach this area for distribution, which not kind of humanitarian hub, it's kind of military hub.
And do you think that's going to work as a system to try and feed the population?
Nothing can replace the humanitarian system that we all have all over the world context. This is something that hurt the humanitarian principle, and in the same time, it's insult the human beings.
And so if you say there's no aid coming to you, I mean, how are you managing? What are you living on?
This kind of suffocation, we are managing to live with only half a meal. I cannot imagine it's a meal. Sometimes we are depending on community kitchens to have some rice. And who managed to buy with about 1,000 times expenses, the things that we are buying if we manage to buy things. So it's a big issue for the Gazans to live here.
There is talk of a possible negotiation around another deal brokered by the Americans. Do you think people want Hamas to do that deal now?
Yes. It's not from today, from the early beginning that we're pushing every actor all over the world to push all Israel and Hamas to reach an agreement.
What if that means Hamas leaving and relinquishing power? Do people want that?
Already, Hamas said that. I'm not the spokesman of Hamas, but already we have this Egyptian plan, it's there. And this approved by all the political parties, that a new governance body will come. So it's few months ago that it was issued by the Egyptians and it's approved by all the Palestinian actors. The problem is Israel now to approve this and to agree on this.
And so what do you think the next step is going to be?
If there will be no ceasefire, I have high concerns that, as Netanyahu said, he will establish concentration camps for the people of Gaza in the south area and Rafah, which almost destroyed now, in order to deport them and to reoccupy Gaza. All of Gaza will be occupied.
We're on the 600th day of this war now. Did you ever imagine this would go on this long?
No, ever. In the worst nightmares, I couldn't imagine this happened to us as Palestinians, to have tens of thousands of people were killed, 90% of Gaza destroyed, and to have such desperate starvation. You know that it's not only Israel. The international community felt the children of Gaza. They witnessed the killing of the children. 17,000 children, infants were killed. Women, elders. The majority of people who were killed and injured, they were civilians.
Amjad Shawa, thank you very much.
Thank you.